I like this angle. I'm not even gonna lie. Bear with the the angle change. I gotta find the angle for the channel. I had a recommendation by a friend. He was like, "Yo, you should just put on a tripod and just like put it up a little bit more." So, I mean, I'm not fully trying what he said, but I think this is a little bit better, and it's a little stationary too. I got the mic right here, the camera's over there, got my lighting right here, and also I got a secondary light. So you have to be a force to be reckoned with, aka you have to be ruthless. You have to be ruthless. You have no choice. Matter of fact, I was watching a podcast today, right? I clicked on it because of Patrick Bet David. He runs Valuetainment. They had a very interesting question. They said, what is the right percentage between being selfless and selfish? And we all agreed on the same thing. It was like 90-10, 90% being selfish and 10% selfless. Because at first, when you're doing everything, you have to be selfless. Your time is your time. You gotta acquire all the knowledge and acquire all the money. As you age and as your business career ages, then you start to gradually go into being selfless. So they said the perfect amount to be selfish, or the perfect percentage between selfless and selfish, is 70% selfish and 30% selfless. So that's food for thought, and those are very established people, and they're telling you that. So like they were saying, 100% selfish is better than being 100% selfless. Because just think about it, if you're 100% selfless and just care about what other people do, you're gonna give your last $100 to somebody else that needs it, and you're just gonna be dead broke. You have to be selfish. Like, being selfish is not technically a bad thing. It's bad when it's like 100% for 100% of your life. You feel me? Today we live in a world right now that's peaceful because of ruthless men. Going back to what I was saying before, we live in a world right now because of ruthless men. Not only do you have to be cut like that, every action has to be a play, and it has to be smart. I always say I watch it differently. I probably do like a breakdown analysis of like me just watching a show too, just because I watch it differently. I don't watch it like an average person. Like, I gain knowledge from just like how somebody handled a situation. I don't watch it for entertainment. That's why I watch a lot of like Roman Empire shit, Peaky Blinders. My boy put me onto a show called Suits. I think I put it off long enough, but I need to tap into that too. There's just a lot of things you can learn off of how people handle situations. Like a son learns from his dad, right? By just being next to him. It's kind of like that same thing. Like I'm always just like peeping how to like handle situations. I'm always just peeping how to handle situations. So it's like that. Going back to what I was saying before, not only do you have to be cut like that, every action has to be a play. It's gotta be smart. And today, I got a perfect example for you. So you guys know who Cornelius Vanderbilt is, right? If not, search him up. He's one of the men who built America. And Men Who Built America, that was a show that I watched like way back, and I keep on going back to. I remember it was social studies class in high school. For a period of time, that's all we just watched. Everybody else was knocked. It was homeroom first period. Everybody knocked, lights out. I'm just up with breakfast, just watching that shit. That shit was mad interesting to me. Cornelius Vanderbilt, he's one of the guys who built America. He's, a stable figure. Like, he was named like the Commodore off of, his business. So he was in the logistics industry via ships, then migrated over to railroads. Like, he owned like a crazy amount of railroads. Like, he had a monopoly on that. Vanderbilt, this is the example. His son was negotiating a deal on his behalf because he's trying to prep his son. Unfortunately, one of his sons died. The main son died, the first son that he was prepping to take over his business. So all the responsibility landed on the second son. So that second son went to negotiate on Vanderbilt's behalf. Now, I don't know the logistics of, the deal, but the opposition wasn't taking him serious. There's two sides of the negotiation. So it's Vanderbilt's son and the people that were in the deal. It was at least like 5 people, like board members or whatever, and then it was just Vanderbilt's son. They were not taking him serious whatsoever, or they were trying to like take advantage of him. They were trying to just like play their cards right. I don't know what was the case, but overall they were not taking him serious. So the opposition got greedy and tried to tip the scale in their favor in a disrespectful manner, right? Vanderbilt's son went home with no deal. He was on that train ride sick. He went home with no deal. So this is like the concept. This is my input. When someone disrespects you in this field, you cannot let it rock. If nothing is done, they'll take your kindness as a weak. Then sooner or later, everyone will start doing it. Sharks smell blood. A retaliation was necessary. So I'm gonna explain the retaliation. Y'all know what Vanderbilt did? So he wanted to control the railroad system, right? So he was, I think that was the deal. He was trying to work out how he can like get his hands on, their portion of the railroad system in the country. So Vanderbilt owned a big chunk of it. Like, let's say, give or take, like maybe like 50%, and then all the other people owned, like, let's say like 20, 15, like another 10 or something like that. So you have Vanderbilt's side. He's trying to get his hands on the other portions, or he's trying to do business with the other portions. And they went and disrespected his son, and all in all disrespected his last name. So the opposition has trains headed towards like one of the main hubs, like one of the main places that businesses or go to. Like they had cargo, they had people in there too, right? So that city was a center of trade. It was a hub. So you know what Vanderbilt did? He gave signal, or he gave orders to perform a blockade to prevent the opposition's trains going into that city. He blocked that whole city off and said, we're just gonna wait for them to bleed out. Y'all are not coming in here. I don't like when business, anything goes at that time. You gotta operate within the legality. And honestly, sometimes they don't even operate with, they don't even operate within the legal standards, and they get away with it. But this is like before, so he literally had people like blocking off the entrance to those cities. You feel me? So they said no trains are passing into the city at all. Vanderbilt can handle it, right? But all those other people couldn't. So word got out, and the stock dropped crazy. The owners of the company, or the shareholders, wanted to do a massive sell-off before the stock dropped even more. Word got out for that too, right? And then the market crashed. Like not the market, their shares crashed and tanked. I think the number that they said in the show was $20 per share for something that was like crazy up before. So Vanderbilt heard about that, and you know what he did? He gave word to buy literally every stock that he can. Every stock that he can get his hands on, he bought. So now he's a major shareholder, and he gave signal again to release the blockade. So if you put 1 and 2 together, he literally just like muscled his way into owning their company. He blocked off the trains. He single-handedly made the stock drop. Then once it was at its lowest, he bought everything up and resumed trade. He resumed access into that main city, into that main hub. So y'all tell me what you think happened. He literally muscled his way into owning the company. Hey, if that's not a retaliation, then I don't know what is. And you can retaliate. You can be all macho and slam doors and slam cars and throw papers on the table, but like, y'all gotta use your brain. Like, how can I outsmart the next person? This is a war zone. You feel me? This is a war zone. And it's either you or them. Like, his opposition couldn't care any less if his family was on the street begging for pennies, panhandling. And I'm sure Vanderbilt didn't care about them either. Like, I'm not saying go and be ruthless to anybody, but like, if somebody is your enemy or you want to outcompete somebody, then go ahead, by all means. But stay loyal to the ones that are loyal to you, though. And that's another thing too. Stay loyal to the people that are loyal to you. Your word is bond. Your word is literally everything. So those people that you call your brothers, those people that you know are on your side, and you don't technically need to be against everybody. It's just that when somebody goes and does something to you, like disrespect your son and try to like do an outlandish deal, then you have to retaliate. You have to retaliate. People were taking Vanderbilt's, you know, age as like a weakness, thinking that he's weak. But like in this field, so you have football, you have soccer, you have basketball, all these other sports, all these competitive sports that testosterone, you know, drives, you know, every action and every ambition. Like, all those sports have an age. All those sports have an age where like you can't really compete no more. In entrepreneurship, the older you get, you can be 80 and be outperforming a 50-year-old just because you have that wisdom. Because you know how to handle that situation. You did favors for 30 years. Somebody coming in the game, you have the advantage over. You have 30 years in the game, and you've assumed a certain spot. So you're literally like a king. The only way to get rid of you is that's completely something else. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about what Vanderbilt did. That's a G maneuver. That's a G play in my book. He literally took their stocks. He said, yo, I bet. Y'all want to play with my name? Play with my name again.